Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Hello everybody, my name is Rizal Hadiansa and I am from Group 3 English Informatic Engineering. We'll explain about operating system. Our member there are Fahri Naufal Nanti, Normalika Nurdila Rifki and me Rizal Hadiansa with name 120, 705 or 109. We'll explain about what is an operating system. So actually, what is an operating system? We know that operating system like Windows, Android or Linux, but what is it? An operating system, or we call it an OS, is a software that acts as an interface between computer hardware components and the user. It is a software, but what's the difference between OS and an app like Chrome or Microsoft Office? Those are software as well. The difference is that an OS is actually connects between a hardware and the user. So it's like a bridge between the hardware and the user. Without an OS, the user cannot be run an app such as Chrome or Notepad or Microsoft Office. Why? Because an OS is live at the top of the program, and the program is live under the OS. So without the OS, this cannot be run at all, because this that manage become an environment for this. So, but without a program, an OS still can be running. Of course, with less functionality. So every computer system must have at least one OS to run other programs. So at least one, huh? But what about 2 or 3? You can run as much as you like. Not as much actually. It has a limit, but you can run more than one an OS. You install, not run, because you can install 2 or 3 an OS on your same computer, but you cannot run it at the same time. You have to run it one by one, and we call it a dual boot. So applications like browsers, Microsoft Office, Notepad, games, etc. need some environment to run and perform its tasks. As I said, an OS is like it's become an environment for the programs. Without an OS, a program cannot be run at all. So what the operating system's job? As we know that an OS is on our computer, but what is it doing then? Your computer's operating system, or OS, manages all of the software and hardware on your computer. It manages all of that, so users don't need to worry about the apps. They are managed by an OS. Most of the time, there are several different computer programs running at the same time, and they all need to access your computer's central processing unit on a CPU, memory and storage. The operating system coordinates all of this to make sure each program gets what it needs. So, for example, when you want to run an app, for example, let's say a Chrome, when you run it, you actually not run it on your storage, because when you click an icon of Chrome, it actually tells the OS to move the data from a storage to the memory. Why? Because the memory is much faster than a storage. Or if you don't familiar with the memory, it's a RAM, and the storage is a hard disk or SSD, if you know. So what happens is, when you install a Chrome, actually, you need to install it on the storage, right? For example, on C drive or D, and when you run it, it should move the data to the memory because it's much faster. But what happens if I want to run it on a storage instead? I don't want it to run it on a memory. It's fine, not fine actually. It will cause some problem. For example, the user will have a slow response from the app, or not responding, or laggy, because the storage is much slower than a memory. So because of that, an OS needs to move the data to the memory. It will happen. That will happen when, an OS will run it on a storage. That happens when the memory has no space to run an app. For example, when you want to run Microsoft Office, but you want to surfing on a web, and the memory is actually not enough to run it two apps at the same time. That way, the OS, for example Windows, will create a virtual memory, so that will run it on a storage instead of the memory. But as I said, user will cause lags on an app, and that's not pleasant at all. So that's why you feel it, not feel actually, you experience lags when you open too much apps at the same time. And here say that an OS coordinates all of this to make sure its program gets what it needs. Yeah, without an OS, actually user needs to separate this memory for Chrome, this for what is it called? Microsoft Word, and this is for Notepad, for example. Because there's an OS on our computer, you don't need to do that on your computer. So it all already controlled by an OS. You need to worry about it. So an OS is very important on your computer, and an OS actually like that is I don't know, it needs to be on your computer. So let's move to the history actually. Yeah, this just has 6 points, but this is a summary of all the OS history, because if I tell you all of them, it won't fit on this video. So the first one is operating system was first developed on the late 1950s to manage tape storage. Tape storage is that thing, I don't know, I never seen it, but I do seen it on Google. That thing, you can search it. The second one, the General Motors Research Lab implemented the first OS in the early 1960s for the IBM 701. IBM 701 is actually the first, what is it called? Scientific computer commercial. Yeah, that. I don't know, it's big actually. It's not like 1 meter, it's big. After that, in the mid-1960s, operating systems started to use disks. So without this, before using this, sorry, an OS is actually not running on a disk. It runs on I forget the name. You can search it on Wikipedia. I already seen it, but I forget now. I'm sorry. After that, in the late 1960s, the first version of the Unix OS was developed. The Unix is an OS that firstly not to be made as a portable OS, but that happened and it becomes a great OS that to be an portable OS. That, yeah, okay. The next one, after that, the first OS built by Microsoft was DOS, or we call it DOS actually. It's an acronym from Disk Operating System. It was built in 1981 by purchasing the 86 DOS software from a Seattle company. Yeah, that's that. Next, the present-day popular OS Windows first came to existence in 1985 when a GUI was created and paired with MS-DOS or Microsoft Disk Operating System. Because before that happened, an OS is actually it's a black. You can just type a command on that. It feels like you open a terminal or command line. That's an OS before GUI first came out. So that sucks actually. We just need to type everything what we want, and there's no color, there's no picture on the computer. We don't use mouse, and after that the mouse came out with balls inside. That's cool. But until now the UI is used. Until now it's cool. I can't wait to see what in the future that we have for replacing UI. Is it hologram? We don't know yet. We can't wait to see it. But that's it for now. That's it for me. Thank you very much. And the next presentation will continued by our members. Thank you very much.
Hello, my name is Nopal Jaki. I will tell you about most popular operating system. Before explaining, what operating system do you think is popular? Is it Linux, macOS, or what? The most popular operating system today include Microsoft Windows, macOS, Linux, and operating system for mobile device. Microsoft Windows. Microsoft created the Windows operating system in the mid-1980s. There have been many different versions of Windows, but the most recent ones are Windows 10, released in 2015, Windows 8 2012, Windows 7 2009, and Windows Vista 2007. Windows compiled on most new species, which helped to make it the most popular operating system in the world. macOS. macOS, previously called OS X, is a line of operating system created by Apple. It's compiled on all Macintosh computer, or Macs. Some of the specific versions include Mojave, released in 2018, High Sierra 2017, and Sierra 2016. According to StatCounter Global Stats, macOS users account for less than 10% of global operating system, much lower than the percentage of Windows users, more than 80%. One reason for this is the Apple computer tend to be more expensive. However, many people do prefer the look and feel of macOS over Windows. Linux. Linux is a family of open source operating system, which means They can be modified and distributed by anyone around the world. This is different of proprietary software like Windows, which can only be modified by the company that owns it. The advantage of Linux are that it is free. There are many different distributions or versions you can choose from. According to StatCounter Global Stats, Linux users account for less than 2% of global operating systems. However, most servers run Linux because it's relatively easy to customize. Operating system for mobile device. The operating system we've been talking about so far were designed to run on desktop and laptop computer. Mobile devices such as a phone, tablet computer, and MP3 player are different from desktop and laptop computers. So they run operating systems that are designed specifically for mobile devices. Examples of mobile operating systems include Apple iOS and Google Android. Thank you.
My name is Nanti Nurraningsi and I will explain about types of operating system. Following are popular types of operating system: batch operating system, multitasking time sharing operating system, multiprocessing operating system, real-time operating system, distributed operating system, network operating system, and mobile operating system. Batch operating system. Some computer processes are very lengthy and time-consuming. To speed the same process, a job with a similar type of need are batched together and run as a group. The user of batch operating system never directly interact with the computer. In this type of operating system, every user prepares his or her job on an offline device like a punch card and submit it to the computer operator. Multitasking time sharing operating system. Time sharing operating system enable people located at a different terminal to use a single computer system at the same time. The processor time, which is shared among multiple users, is termed as the time sharing. Real-time operating system. A real-time operating system time interval to process and respond to inputs is very small. Example, military software systems, space software systems are the real-time operating system example. Distributed operating system. Distributed systems use many processors located in different machines to provide very fast computation to its users. Network operating system. Network operating system runs on a server. It provides the capability to serve, to manage data, users, groups, security, application, and other networking functions. And the last, mobile operating system. Mobile operating system are those operating systems which is especially that are designed to power smartphones, tablets, and wearables devices. Some most famous mobile operating systems are Android and iOS, but others include BlackBerry, Web, and WatchOS. Thank you.
My name is Marika Sandi. I want to explain both functions of operating system. First, process management. Process management help realize to create and develop processes. It also provides mechanism for synchronization and communication among processes. Memory management. Memory management performs the task of allocation and the allocation of memory space to programs in need of these resources. File management. It manages all the file-related activities which are organization, storage, retrieval, naming, sharing, and protection of files. Device management. Device management keeps track of all devices. This module, also responsible for this task, is known as the EAU controller. It also performs the task of allocation and the allocation of the devices. EAU system management. One of the main objects of any device is to hide the peculiarity of the hardware device from the user. Secondary storage management. Systems have several levels of storage, which includes primary storage, secondary storage, and cache storage. Interaction and data must be stored in primary storage or cache so that a running program can reference it. Security. Security module protects the data and information of a computer system against malware, threat, and unauthorized access. Command interpretation. This module is interpreting command given by an acting system requires to process that command. Networking. A distributed system is a group of processors which do not share memory, hardware device, or a probe. The processor communicates with the another through the job counting, keeping track of time and resources used by various jobs and users. Last, communication management, coordination and assignment of compilers, interpreters, and another software records of the various users of the computer system.
Hello, my name is Nurdila Farha Kamila, and today I will explain about advantages and disadvantages of using operating system. But I will explain about the advantages first. One is allow you to hide details of hardware by creating an abstraction. 2. Easy to use with a GUI. 3. Offers an environment in which a user may execute programs or applications. 4. The operating system must make sure that the computer system convenient to use. 6. Operating system acts as an intermediary among application and the hardware components. 6. It provides the computer system resources with easy-to-use format. And the last is acts as an intermediator between all hardwares and softwares of the system. Okay, next I will explain about disadvantages of using operating system. First, if any issue occurs in operating system, you may lose all the contents which have been stored in your system. 2. Operating system software is quite expensive for small size organization, which adds burden on them. For example, it's like Windows. And the last is it is never entirely secure, as a threat can occur at any time. So maybe that's all I can say. Thank you.
Okay, I will continue. What is kernel in operating system? The kernel is the central component of a computer operating system. The only job performed by the kernel is to manage the communication between the software and the hardware. The kernel is at the nucleus of the computer. It makes the communication between the hardware and software possible. While the kernel is the innermost part of an operating system, a shell is the outermost one. Okay, I will continue divided into four parts. One, low level scheduling of process. Process synchronization and inter-process communication in context switching. Low-level scheduling of process. The scheduling is the part of the operating system that manage the scheduling of the execution of process. Scheduling algorithm or scheduling algorithm is the algorithm used when because many process after simulation a question is created in front of the process, which is in a ready state, and there is only one process that is in priority working status. Prioritization the process because not all processes are equally important, so priority is created in priority. The work on the processor is completed first before the priority process will be processed. Preemption, the same as priority, but in preemption if there is a process that get preemption, then preemption will stop the work of the process and issue work in the process, so processor. And after the preemption process is complete, the processor will carry out the rest of the processor will carry out the rest of the processor that were removed from each work early. The scheduling period is the interval of time range during which the operating system performs the scheduling process. Okay, I will continue process synchronization understanding complete operating system synchronization. Synchronization is a joint process and sharing data together can result in rich condition or data inconsistencies. And inter-process communication. Inter-process communication is a way or mechanism for exchanging data between one process and another, be it processes that are on the same computer or remote computer connected via a network. Context switching, also sometimes referred to as a process switch or task switch, is the switching or the CPU central processing unit from the process or the thread to another. Context is the context of the CPU register and program counters at any point in time. Type of kernel. Monolithic. Monolithic kernel is a single code or block of the program. It provides all the request service offered by the operating system. It is simply designed switch create a distinct communication layer between the hardware and software. Microkernel manage a system resources. In this type of kernel, services are implemented in different address space. The user service are stored in user address space, and kernel service are stored under kernel address space. So it helps to reduce the size of both the kernel and operating system.
Different
difference between firmware and operating system. Firmware is one kind of programming that is embedded on a chip in the device which control that specific device. Firmware is programs that been encoded. Firmware is programs that been encoded by the manufacturer of the IC or something and cannot be changed. It is stored on non-volatile memory. Operating system provide functionality over and above that which is provided by the firmware. Operating system is a program that can be installed by the user and can be changed. Operating system is stored on the hard drive. Next, difference between 32-bit versus 64-bit operating system. Parameter 32-bit. Architecture and software allow 32-bit of data processing simultaneously. Compatibility 32-bit application require 32-bit operating system and CPU. System available. All versions of Windows 8, Windows 7, Windows Vista, and Windows XP, Linux, etc. Memory limits. 32-bit systems are limited to 32 GB of RAM. 64-bit. Architecture and software allow 64-bit of data processing simultaneously. Compatibility. 64-bit application require 64-bit operating system and CPU. System available: Windows XP Professional, Windows Vista, Windows 7, Mac operating system X, and Linux. Memory limits: 64-bit system allow a maximum 17 billion GB of RAM. Thank you.